Let's get started talking about level 2. For level 2, you're going to have to now graph the system to solve it, but both of your equations are already going to have y alone, or slope-intercept form. So to solve a system of equations by graphing, take a look at these 5 steps. Pause the video to fill out these blanks. So there's 5 steps to graphing a system of equations. The first step would be to rearrange the equation so that y is by itself, and do that for both equations. The second step would be to go through and identify the slope and the y-intercept for each equation. The third step is to actually use that slope and the y-intercept to plot them on a single coordinate plane. That's just a regular graph. Then we're going to use a straight edge to connect our dots, and then locate the solution where the lines overlap. So level 2 means that we get to skip this first step, and we have already figured out how to do number 5 because that was part of level 1. So really our focus today is going to be on steps 2, 3, and 4. Let's take a look at our first example. I'm going to use colors to kind of help us here. The first equation and there's the second equation. Now the directions in this say to solve for y. And this, guys, is a wonderful little template to help us kind of remind ourselves how to get started. I always use it on our notes, and then I give it to you for the first couple of problems in our classwork. But then I want you to make a goal of to be able to solve these kinds of equations without the template. So you won't have it when it comes time to take our standard check and our unit assessment. So make sure that you know how to do it by the time we get to those two things. But the first step says to kind of solve each equation for y, which we just talked about. That's already done for us. So we're going to go ahead and identify the slope and the y-intercept of each of these equations. The slope, remember, when y is alone, is the number in front of the x. So 3. And we always want to write our slope as a fraction, So we're going to put it over 1 because whole numbers go over 1 when they become fractions. The y-intercept is always a point at 0, and it's the number that doesn't have the x, so 0, -2. Let's go ahead and plot this point, and we can draw our line through it. So I'm going to first start with 0, -2. Then I'm going to count my slope from this point, up 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. And I would continue that all the way across the graph. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number 1, we get a better line this way. And number 2, we have a better shot of telling exactly what the point is that the other equation crosses at. Use our straight edge to draw our line all the way through. And of course, don't forget your arrows. Let's jump back up to the second equation. The slope is the number in front of the x, so that means it's -2. And to write it as a fraction, we put it over 1. Then we have a y-intercept at 0, 3. So to plot this, we're going to start at that point, 0, 3. And then count your slope from that point. Down 1, 2, over 1. 1, 2, over 1. And I'm going to continue it all the way across the graph. Now I have a better spot to line them up. Draw it all the way across and put your arrows on either end. Now we're going to complete this just like we did in level 1. What's the point that they cross at? These two lines cross at the point 1, comma, 1. So my solution to the system is 1, 1. Go ahead and take a look at your classwork and get started.